Gotoku 6 released late 2016 to a rapidly waiting fanbase in Japan and select Asian markets. Using the brand new Dragon engine and being touted as Kazuma Kiryu's final game, the stakes have never been higher for a Yakuza game to deliver the delicate mixture of over-the-top action, melodrama, and comedy we've all come to love. But is this game a fitting end for the Dragon of Dojima, or does it fumble right at the finish line? Gotoku 6 brings a whole new level of realism to the series, deciding to focus on only two locations for the finale: Kamurocho, our old standby in the heart of Tokyo, and Jingaicho, a small scenic district of Onomichi in Hiroshima. The attention to detail in both areas is astounding, with the new engine giving you the ability to roam the city less like an RPG and more like an action game. Darting in and out of stores with no loading screens or passing through small cracks between buildings to find shortcuts around town, everywhere feels more interconnected than ever before. Using the new Dragon engine, the game has never looked prettier. The entire world is now a one-to-one real-life scale, allowing you to get a sense of just how dense Kamurocho really is. Everything simultaneously looks new and well-worn in a perfect balance of how a city should be. Jingaicho even more so, with everything from the strip mall to the hilltop shrine giving off that Japanese small-town appeal. Jingaicho feels like a place you could retire in. Even though the world feels more like a real place than ever before, it becomes obvious quickly that due to the development time, parts of the game map were left unfinished. This is especially noticeable in Kamurocho, where places that are staples of the main game have been locked off for seemingly no reason behind lazily placed police blockades. The battle mechanics this time around have also been completely retooled. Kiryu now only has a single move set that, while serviceable, is a step back from the more recent entries in the series like Zero or even Kiwami released earlier in the same year. Combat is smoother than ever, allowing you to easily string together combos and heat moves without breaking your flow. Enemy giving you a hard time? Pop into heat mode with R2 and wreck them in a single combo. Items and enemies all have depth and weight, making the combat feel more visceral than ever. There's a bunch of skill upgrades, and the whole system of gaining experience has been completely retooled to allow for more customization. Despite this, using the exact same combos over and over again with barely any variation or technique worked just as well, if not better, than trying to pull off the more advanced moves. Heat actions don't pack the same variety as their predecessors. Weapon-based actions are confined to 5 categories, using the same animation of all weapons in each, and the context-sensitive heat moves appear more rarely than ever. Luckily, the fights are quick to get into and easy to leave, and the flow of combat once you find your groove feels rewarding, if a little simple. Both Kamurocho and Jingaicho have unique play spots that deviate from the main story, letting you sink your teeth into them as much or as little as you want. In Kamurocho, you'll find your standard stuff like karaoke, batting cages, darts, hostess clubs, mahjong, and the new live chat. Each spot has been completely redone from previous titles, becoming a little simpler to understand, and the new additions, especially the live chat, are a lot more spicy than you would expect. Don't play that one around your family. There's even a cat cafe where you can help out the owner by befriending cats all over town. Oh, and don't forget the Club Sega titles. Over in Jingaicho, you'll gain access to spearfishing, a great on-rails shooter that feels just like a light gun game you'd find in an arcade. The snack bar, which allows you to mingle with the local clientele and solve their problems through conversation, and baseball management, where you'll be tasked with managing a team of locals as they battle their way to the top of the league. The new play spots are great and surprisingly well thought out, but I couldn't help feeling that they could have worked better as a cell phone game, never hitting the depth or fun of the Another drama in Yakuza 5. The big play spot this time around though is the Clan Creator. Available in both Jingaicho and Kamurocho, it's up to you to recruit new members of the Kiryu clan and take on the rival gangs in a real-time strategy game. For a mode that holds the most promise and the most interesting side characters, I can't help but feel like it falls short in the gameplay department, being repetitive and boring. The best clan members you can recruit are hidden behind randomized packs of DLC cards. The Clan Creator even has an online versus mode, but again, unless you're buying packs of cards, you'll get wrecked pretty easily. It's the pay-to-win model at its worst. Substories are back again and are the best part of the game. Varying wildly, they bring back the quirky weirdness you've come to expect from the series. From dismantling bombs around Kamurocho to helping a time-traveling girl, each sub-story is memorable and, for the first time ever, fully voice-acted. Review Gotoku 6 is a technical triumph, and the Dragon engine is an amazing step up from the previous entries in the series. Typically, each time the engine gets upgraded, Sega makes a go-between to bridge the gap, like Ken's narration as they develop the next mainline title, and I can't help but feel like Yakuza 6 would have benefited from that. The story is a lot more straightforward this time around. Instead of the twists and turns we usually see throughout the series, the goals are established at the start of the game and for the most part have satisfying endings. Kiryu, having served his time in prison after the events of Yakuza 5, comes back to Okinawa to find Haruka missing. He heads to Kamurocho looking for Akiyama's help, only to discover Haruka has been hit by a car and is now in a coma. To top it off, she's brought to the hospital holding a baby named Haruto. Where is Haruto's father? What happened during the 4 years Kiryu was in prison? What was Haruka doing in Jingaicho? And what do the Chinese and Korean mafia have to do with any of this? Thus is the setup for the roughly 25-hour story of Yakuza 6. Review Gotoku has always been about human drama at its heart. Every new cast member is extremely well written, with their own motivations and personalities that let you feel the highs and lows of each character as the story reaches its conclusion. It's the first time in the series I can remember actually caring what happens to each member of the supporting cast. Unfortunately, the story this time around, while being easy to understand, feels lacking and will be extremely dividing amongst fans, especially the ending. It's disappointing that the strongest characters in the series seem to be absent, and it's a little strange that a game billed as Kiryu's finale did not include 10 plus years of supporting cast. Yakuza 6 is a game that promises a lot and, given another year of development, could have really shined. If this was a middle of the series game, it could be more forgivable, but as the ultimate climax and as an end to a decade-long series, it feels a little underwhelming. Is it worth picking up? At the end of the day, Yakuza 6 is a worthwhile entry into the series. What is here is worth experiencing, love it or hate it, and it's still the only game that can really give you that feeling of existing in a fully realized Japanese city. While a lot of the game's features are lacking, Yakuza 6 feels like the biggest redo of the formula since the transition from Yakuza 2 to Yakuza 3. Longtime fans may find it hard to look past the omissions and bizarre story choices, but underneath it is a solid game that feels great to play with a cast of original characters that you'll actually care about. 時間食っち